What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another extremely important AMC update to bring all of you this afternoon. So what we're going to be covering in this video is a very important piece of evidence that I have just been recently made aware of about how these share recounts in this voting process actually works with the brokerages, specifically pertaining to this AMC situation that we have going forward. Now, I have been saying over the past couple of weeks that yes, the information that we are receiving from Adam Aaron and AMC as a company is extremely important, but at the same time, I do not want you guys setting dates or putting all of your eggs in one basket, thinking that one specific event is going to set off this squeeze. Now, the way I'm thinking about this is that if we get some hard, concrete evidence that there are synthetic shares out on the market, that's amazing news. But then again, we have all done the math and the due diligence over the past 6 months. We know where we stand, and we know that we own the float, or even more than the float. So we have a lot of very important information to cover in this video, so make sure you guys stick until the end. So before we get into all of that, if you guys enjoy the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people as possible. And the more people that we have staying up to date on accurate AMC information, the stronger our community becomes. And additionally, if you guys would like to earn 2 free stocks with Webull, valued up to $1,850, make sure you check out that link down below in my description. So at the current time that I am recording, AMC is trading at $47.75. Now, this is a very strong day for AMC. And typically on Fridays, we do see a lot of manipulation, and it's possible that we typically see red days on Fridays. Now, the reason for this is the options expiration days that do come on Fridays. Now, I want to point something out to you guys that I believe to be very important. When we scroll down to the call options for the end of this week, these $50 strikes right here have an open interest of 21,823. If we can finish above 50 by market close today, this is going to force the institutions who sold you these strikes to go out on the open market and purchase an appropriate amount of shares in order to make sure that they can deliver on the obligations that they need to as part of an options contract obligation. Now, again, I also want to bring up Ortex. This is probably going to be the last time that I say this, but what we need to understand is that the information that we are getting from Ortex is not very accurate. Now, it's not Ortex's fault. They are an honest company getting their information from dishonest people. Now, the 2 key indicators that I am going to be looking at going forward in order to tell me, 1, when we are in the squeeze, or 2, when we are near the top of the squeeze. And again, we are not in the squeeze yet. I want to make that clear to you guys. So the 2 indicators that I am looking for is 1, hedge fund bankruptcies. Now, the reason for this is that when these margin calls do eventually happen, they are going to have to liquidate their other holdings in their portfolios in order to cover that margin requirement. Now, the second thing that is going to happen as a result of this is widespread market sell-off. So that is really the only 2 things that I am looking for to tell me that we are 1, in the squeeze, or 2, near the top of it. But again, we are not in the squeeze right now. Now, coming over to this Reddit post, this is where everything is about to get very important. So shout out to this individual for posting this source up here. So I just wanted to pull up this Reddit post just to show you guys where I'm getting some of my information. And when we come over to this source, in those cases where brokers receive the information on how to vote the shares from the shareholders, they usually do not turn in more votes than they have shares. Firms have procedures in place to adjust the votes in this instance. According to the Securities Industry Association, in an April 2005 letter to the New York Stock Exchange, they detailed the system of prorating the votes based on the number received according to the number eligible. If a broker receives 20% more votes than it has aggregated shares for, then it simply reduces the vote totals in each category by 20%. This is such important information that I want you guys to understand, and it ties into what I was talking about before and how I do not want you guys putting all of your eggs in one basket, hoping that one specific situation is going to set off this squeeze. It is entirely possible that the manipulation that we have been seeing with AMC's stock price over the last 6 months is going to translate into the voting period that we have coming up. So in brief terms, exactly what they are doing here is that what happens when they get more votes in on a proxy vote than are supposed to exist, what these different companies will do is they'll just take it off the top and make the numbers work, so there's nothing really wrong. This is a fraudulent system, and this is why I don't want you guys freaking out over the next couple of weeks when we actually get the votes in, and maybe we end up seeing that the votes are lower than they're supposed to be, or we end up actually seeing them higher and we get that good news. But again, we have done the due diligence. We know what is occurring here, and we know that there is a fraudulent system at play that we have to get around. Now, in addition to this article right here, if you guys know who Wes Christian is, he is actually a very outspoken lawyer and has prosecuted many naked short selling lawsuits. In this second interview, I believe, he actually goes over this situation that we just talked about when these different proxy companies who run these votes actually trim off the top to make the numbers work. Now, I also want to bring something up to you guys that I spotted in this article as well. So there are numerous examples of this, such as the rather striking example of Global Links, which under an FOIA request determined there were 27 million delivery failures for outstanding company shares. Now, where have we heard of Global Links before? That brings us to this article right here that I think is very important for you guys to read. So it's the anatomy of a short attack, and down here it gives an example, a concrete example of how naked shorting actually is occurring. Now, Global Links Corporation is an example of how wholesale counterfeiting of shares will decimate a company's stock price. Global Links is a company that provides computer services to the real estate industry. By early 2005, their stock price had dropped to a fraction of a cent. At that point, an investor, Robert Simpson, purchased 100% plus of Global Links' 1.158 million issued and outstanding shares. So he owns everything. He immediately took delivery of his shares and filed the appropriate forms with the SEC, disclosing he owned all of the company's stock. His total investment, $5,205. The day after he acquired all of the company's shares, the volume on the over-the-counter market was 37 million shares. The following day, 22 million shares. So this is just an example, a very concrete example when one individual owns all of these shares that are supposed to exist, and they're still trading shares on the over-the-counter market, which proves that those shares should not actually exist. Now, let's take a look at Adam Aron's recent tweets. So, as we can see here, as of June 2nd, AMC had 501 million total outstanding shares. AMC's number of shareholders in the US and abroad has increased to about 4.1 million, and you own more than 80% of AMC. So my friend Rogue the Legacy over on Twitter has actually created this very interesting document right here. He did some math to try to calculate how many shares are actually out on the market according to the numbers that we have been provided by Adam Aron and some of the other institutional numbers that we have at the current time. So if you guys don't already follow him, his Twitter @'s right here @Rogue the Legacy. Definitely go give him a follow. Now, shares owned by all is about 501 million. We know this. Now, shareholders approximately is about 4.1 million, and Adam Aron has come out and said that the average share amount is about 120. Now, if individuals own about 80%, that brings their number to about 401 million. And institutions, according to NASDAQ, own about 115 million shares. The total shares allowed is about 501 million. And if you add these two numbers up, the total shares over the amount of shares that are supposed to exist is about 14.87 million. So this is somewhat proving that there are shares out on the market right now that should not exist. But again, Adam Aron cannot come out without concrete proof and evidence and tell us that there are synthetic shares out on the market. He has to deal with compliance all day, every day, and they do not want any lawsuits coming from Adam Aron coming out and saying, hey, our stock has been naked shorted, there's been synthetics, unless he has concrete proof. So that is really going to wrap up this update on AMC. I really want you guys to understand that information, that there are those institutions out there, the companies that run these different counts, and just how fraudulent this system that we are engaging in is at the current time. Even if we actually vote on more shares than are actually that are actually supposed to exist, it is possible that these companies will actually come out and just trim off the top and make the numbers work. So I do not want anybody freaking out if this does occur over the next couple of weeks once we get the results of the vote. So that is going to conclude this update on AMC. If you guys enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people as possible. And if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.